GPU monitoring can get stupid really fast. You install a dashboard, it has 47 graphs, everything is colorful, and when a training job fails, none of the graphs tell you what you actually need to know. So I want to talk about the GPU monitoring stack I actually care about, and more importantly, which metrics are useful. The basic pieces are pretty straightforward. NVIDIA DCGM gives us GPU, telemetry, and health information. DCGM Exporter exposes that telemetry in Prometheus format. Prometheus stores and queries it. Grafana gives us dashboards and alerting. Then I normally combine that with Node Exporter for the Linux side because the GPU does not live in a vacuum. CPU, memory, file systems, networking, and load all matter too. The first thing I want from a GPU dashboard is inventory. Do I have the number of GPUs I expect? Are all of them reporting? What driver version is installed? What server am I looking at? That sounds boring until one GPU disappears and your dashboard still looks pretty because the other 7 are fine. Then I care about utilization, GPU utilization by device, memory utilization, frame buffer memory used, power draw, temperature, clock behavior. Those metrics tell you whether the GPUs are actually doing work and whether they are behaving consistently with each other. Consistency is a big deal. If 7 GPUs in the same server are pulling similar power and running at similar utilization, while one GPU is doing something completely different, that is usually more interesting than the absolute number. For newer high-powered GPUs, power and thermal behavior deserve their own attention. A B200 can consume a ridiculous amount of power under load. So I want to see power draw over time, thermal state, and throttling reasons. The important part is the throttling reason. A GPU running below maximum clocks is not automatically a problem. If the workload does not need the clock, that is fine. If the device is being limited by a software power cap or thermal condition when it should be running flat out, now I care. DCGM gives you counters that can help separate those cases. Then I want error visibility. XID-related events, ECC errors where applicable, retired pages or row remapping information on hardware that exposes it, PCI Express replay or link problems if I can collect them, and ideally I want those correlated with the network and node metrics, because when a distributed training job slows down, the GPU might only be the victim. The actual cause might be a network rail, storage, CPU pressure, or a process stuck somewhere else. This is why I don't like GPU-only dashboards. Put the GPU view next to the system view, GPU utilization, NIC throughput, CPU load, memory pressure, file system behavior, then line the graphs up on the same time axis. Now when utilization falls off a cliff at 2:13 in the morning, you can see what else happened at 2:13. The other thing I do is build alerts around symptoms that matter, not around every metric that exists. A GPU temperature changing by 2 degrees is not an alert. A GPU disappearing is. A device reporting persistent health errors is. A server expected to have 8 GPUs only exporting 7 is. A power or thermal throttle that persists under a known workload might be. Prometheus is very good at this because you can express the condition you actually care about instead of just setting static thresholds everywhere. And before I trust the dashboard, I validate the exporter. DCGM Exporter usually exposes metrics over HTTP. Curl the metrics endpoint. Make sure the GPU labels match the hardware. Make sure the metric exists before building a beautiful Grafana panel around it. I also compare it with NVIDIA SME and DCGMI on the host. Monitoring is another measurement system. It needs to be tested too. The goal is not to collect every possible metric. The goal is to answer questions quickly. Is every GPU present? Are they all working? Are they behaving consistently? Is one device throttling? Did the failure start on the GPU, the host, or the network? If the dashboard can answer those questions, it is useful. If it just looks like the bridge of the enterprise, it is decoration. And don't get me wrong, I like decoration. I just want it to tell me why the cluster is broken too.